Amit, in the past, when we've met you, we've talked about problems and problems and problems for US FDA and for Indian pharma companies. But right now, there is opportunity for Indian pharma, MNC pharma companies. Do you think it's given that Indians will consume more medicine and MNC companies which have a niche presence in diabetes or vaccine or for that matter thyroid, these companies will continue to grow at inflation plus 5%?
Yeah, good morning, Nikun. Yes, unfortunately we discuss only problems with you all the time. But now since look, the success of MNCs in terms of their growth rate in last 18 months have to be attributed to the regulatory regime change that has happened in India. And unlike our own India Inc., which has a problem with the government, MNC's Pharma must have to thank the Indian government to do that. Let me tell you 3-4 regulatory things that has changed, which has is there a solid patent protection, the respect for patent now, and the courts are not listening. I mean, after 2014, there is not a single compulsory licensing that has been entertained by the courts of India. B is that the ban on the FDC. FDC is like 300 or 400 FDC fixed dose combinations have been banned in India by DCGI, and that has given space for multinationals to bring their innovative molecules. Unfortunately, the research by our R&D team of Indian Pharma is busy with the A&DA business. There's no active research on an innovative product to bring to the India market. The multinationals have a full pipeline of their R&D full with new innovative molecules, and so that's second. And third is, the timeline for approval of the new molecule in India once you file from overseas is now 3 to 8 months, unlike 12 months to eternity that was 2 or 3 years before. So combination of these 3 regulatory decisions by the government of India has actually led to multinationals getting into good numbers. Second, there is no serious competition by these companies from Indian Pharma in terms of vaccines and animal healthcare. No, these two are very big market. With the government coming out with compulsory animal healthcare program in India, there's a huge market for vaccines which no Indian pharma has the ability to capture that. So there are a number of reasons why multinationals are doing good, and they will certainly do good with coming out. Volumes will increase because of the population and all that. And B, if you specifically see for Abbott and all, Abbott has gone into more on a rural push now. So right. With Ayushman, more and more participation of these multinational companies into Ayushman, their volumes are increasing.
Sure. Surajit, hi, welcome on board as well. Do you think the recent FDA issue with companies is not there with MNC Pharma, and that may be the key and the critical most reason why with investors, MNC Pharma's stocks are most preferred?
No, that's true. I think the MNC Pharma rise, there are 2 reasons. One thing is that Indian companies, the benefit of growth comes at a cost of higher risk, which is mainly from US market. So that thing is absent when you are doing business in India. Now, when you are doing business in India, something like say companies like say Aries Life, or companies highly dominated by domestic product like say Alchem, I think they are also coming into the same category and they are also growing into that fashion. So the question is that whether the institutional guys can enter into those MNC era. Now MNC companies have a very small volume if I compare it with the Indian peers. So as a result of it, the retailers are chasing. Institutionals, only the small cap funds are basically chasing. The big cap guys are taking only in the tax benefit scheme because of the dividend issues and all those things. But I think even if we are so positive or so bullish on this, but practically it throws not much of opportunity for the the large mutual fund or the large fund or large scheme. Though it's a fact is that it's a parking of your money in a riskless scenario.
There are 2 things which will challenge the drug or the OTC market stroke the prescription market in India. One is drug price control. Second is the copycat nature of Indian pharma companies. How come MNC pharma companies have managed to protect some of the key drugs outside the ambit of DP, drug price control, and how come Indian pharma companies have not been able to copy them?
See, Niku, that's why I'm talking about the regulatory regime. Even if you have to launch a new drug which is more generic in nature, you'll have to give a lot of clinical trial data. And getting the redoing the whole clinical trial in India is a costly procedure. And multinationals, being the innovator of the molecule, most of them have already have the clinical trial data. And if you, look at the two DCGI rules that have changed in last 3 months. A is that once you have a clinical trial data of any regulated market, you get an automatic approval. And B, if you apply for a new molecule in India and you don't listen from the government in 30 days, you get an automatic approval. So these are the things where it has actually geared up. Multinationals were already geared up for this kind of data presentation. Indian companies do not have clinical trial data on new molecule or new combinations.
Okay. Surajit, from a market perspective, do you see double-digit opportunity here in India? Do you feel that that's perhaps what's giving some of these stocks the kind of multiples that they're trading at? What's your sense when it comes to the opportunity of the market here?
Opportunity, come again?
The kind of opportunity that we have in India, how lucrative a market do you feel it really will be for some of these majors? And is that what's helping them to command the kind of multiples that they're trading at currently?
Yes, the multiple valuation is pretty lofty, and I really don't think that given the kind of growth prospect they are currently have, and that could be possible going forward, both in top line and bottom line, could really justify this kind of valuation. If you go by the valuation, it could be something like say 3, 4, 5 years of prospect you are already discounting in the valuation. So I believe that even if I talk about their molecule, their NC, their R&D, point is that can Indian people afford those products? Unless until we have a guys like Senatco, we have a guys like Dr. Reddy's or Cipla, can we really afford their oncology product, for example, because it's very spreading like nobody's business. So if we start respecting in that fashion of quote unquote, the kind of superficial kind of patent and creating a safeguard so that people will wait for 15-20 years, then our people will not have any treatment at all, and it will be anarchy like 1970s of all. So I think we should be very mindful in terms of what patent we are allowing. We should not allow any kind of added patent to that, and we also have the mind of the matter is that if the population is growing in certain kind of oncology or certain kind of disease, we should allow the mandatory patenting, a mandatory out-license deal of any patent product. And even if we are talking of all this, majority of the high-value product, these MNC guys are still importing. They are not producing in India. Only the high-volume, low-value product are producing in India by these guys. So opportunity-wise, these things are not actually the very big part of their business. Abbott is big because they have acquired Nicholas Piramal, and Piramal has a wide spread of business. So is Sanofi. Sanofi is launching more product into mid-segment area or into differential pricing segment area. But if you go by their real patented product, which are very high value products, something like say hepatitis C, how many Indian people can afford that? $1,000 per pill per week, one pill. Can Indian people afford it? No, not possible.
Okay, all right. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.